Yeah, you know the drill. Let's move on with the review. We pick up pretty much instantly where part 1 left off, with Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss, the symbol of the ongoing rebellion, recovering from a vicious attack by a brainwashed PETA, reprised by Josh Hutcherson. This leads Katniss to go on a quest of sorts through the extremely booby-trapped streets of the capital in order to exact revenge on the ever-so-sluggishly evil President Snow, played once again to absolute villainous perfection by Donald Sutherland. Joining Katniss on her rage-fueled mission are a short list of allies, which include a mute Foggy from Netflix's Daredevil, Marjorie Tyrell from Game of Thrones, and the only two men competing for Katniss's affections, the real-life brother of Thor and the currently unstable King of Terabithia. Thankfully, we don't focus too much on the threesome waiting to happen, since everyone is mostly running for their lives, avoiding treacherous obstacles or worse, and barely given a moment's rest to mourn those they've lost in the process. It's by far the darkest entry in the entire series, as well as a vast improvement over the last movie, but alas, it's nowhere near being the absolute best. While it does feature the same amount of strong performances we've grown accustomed to since the very beginning, as well as some very intense and well-played action sequences that fans of the book will love to see portrayed on the big screen, particularly the sewer scene that I'm sure someone like Guillermo del Toro will get a serious kick out of, but again, it still features a number of flaws. A few examples being one that I brought up in last year's review, which is the studio's decision to split the final book into 2 movies, when it all could have been easily done in one go, the hazardously stupid idea of the group bringing PETA along for the mission, when he should have just stayed behind to get better and not put everyone's lives at risk, and probably my biggest pet peeve of all, which also extends towards the original book, the epilogue. This was the moment I hoped the filmmakers would alter completely, as, without giving anything away, it just comes across as too glossy and silly in comparison to everything that came before. The lead up to it I thought was handled really well, but in my opinion, I think it would have had a much better payoff had it ended on a note that emphasized more on the bigger picture of this epic story, rather than giving in to the lowest common denominator. But despite my many gripes, I still think this movie is worth seeing for all the things that did work, especially that sewer sequence and the final confrontation between Katniss and Snow. If the filmmakers had decided to stray away from the original source just a little bit, who knows, maybe we could have gotten a more satisfying conclusion to the Hunger Games franchise. But as is, Mockingjay Part 2 is still good enough to receive a 7.5 from me. And that concludes our show. I'm the host. Now if you excuse me, I got another movie to catch.